Welcome back. My name is Gary Coburn and I'm here with extendingclouds.com with another session focused around automation. In today's session, we're actually going to walk through the vRealize Automation 7, which is 7.0, 7.0.1, and 7.1, which will be released shortly, agent install package. For those of you who have followed or seen some of my videos before, you'll likely say, hey, didn't we do that once? And the answer is yes, we have. However, there were a whole bunch of hoops to jump through, and it wasn't nearly as flexible as I would like it to be. So at the end of the day, my goal here is to make this as easy for you, the consumer who's creating this actual agent install package, as well as it is for as important and easy as it is for your consumer who goes out and requests a very specific software or IaaS or any kind of component that you're offering as a service. Since I'm building content, my goal here is to make this easy as possible for you to consume. So just generally speaking, if you look at the previous post that I published out there, the automated application agent installer was a bit complex. Had a whole bunch of kind of pieces that you had to either enable or change IDs. Used a whole bunch of different packages that you basically had to go through and edit and update. And then even after you got all of the pieces for the install process, we had you edit a script, and then we went into the actual vRA environment and update the property groups and started to add a whole bunch of those pieces. So my goal here today is first of all to introduce you to a more adaptable one that works across the different platforms. So 7, 7.01, 7.1, and when 7.2 comes, it will be easy to add a new script to the environment that won't require you go to GitHub or get anything from an external source, just an update to the package, and then you'll be able to take advantage of 7.2, for example. So all really easy for assuming it's 7.2. I can't say that definitively, right? We don't know what the next major version is gonna be numbered, but the idea is that at each version we're going to update these pieces and make it much more easy for you to really consume. So at the end of the day, I want it to be really easy for you to take the package and get immediate value out of it. So what I'll do is I'll walk you through what I've got, how it works, and then I'll go back and illustrate how I actually built that out. And you can use that for even your own future use cases where you may want to add or update content back into Developer Center. So first, we're going to download the agent install package. I've already done this. Import it into your vRO environment. I've already done that as well. Just for the sake of discussion, it uses the updated agent installer for Windows. So it does grab the update prepare vRA template PS1, which is now updated and works across different platforms. So if you want to see how that actually works, you can look at my my update for agent deployment script, and you'll see exactly how the process works. There's basically one little tweak that now requests what version you're on, and it will download the appropriate bits to do the installation. You will still use that version in the automation vRO package. However, you don't have to go out and grab this script because it's actually integrated into the package, which I'll show you in a little bit here. So we jump into vRO, and if you look at the vRO environment, you'll see that I've updated or I've imported that package in. It's under VMware SDE set, vRealize Automation, Agent Installer. And what I've got is the agent installer is in the root. So this is the solution that will actually be run at the time of request. And then we've got an installer that has some helper workflows that goes through and configures all of the settings for you. So think of this as your install wizard for your vRA agent install. So we'll start that workflow. We choose our vRA host. We choose the event topic because it couldn't actually populate that dynamically. I tried a couple of times. So we are going to choose machine provisioning. We give it the fully qualified URL of our vRA appliance, which in my example is vRA 71.byteback.records. Rock on. win.vra71.byteback.records. Give the password for your Darwin user. So this is used specifically for the Windows environment that uses the service user to do the installation. Choose the version of vRA we're actually running. Then we need the root password for Linux, or admin if you disable root and set another SA account kind of thing. So same thing for Windows. These are just to use the guest script manager to log on to the guest OS when it deploys. As you can see, we run through, set the configuration elements, run the event broker subscription, set the properties for Windows and Linux, and we've completed successfully. That's it for the install and configuration. No altering scripts, no changing any of the environment, just simply using it. So I've actually destroyed those two. Let's go into our vRA environment, go to the design. As you can see, I have a CentOS with a simple EPEL, which is the Enterprise Linux, and I've got a simple Windows 2012 with IaaS. I go into those blueprints which already have the software components on them. I select the template, go to properties, and add the property group for, you guessed it, property group for Linux. We can finish that. We'll trigger the same thing with the Windows. Obviously, we choose Windows for the Windows one. Now let's go to our catalog and we'll go ahead and request those two. And while they're provisioning, we'll walk through the steps that I use to actually create this so that you understand exactly what you've done and how it works. So while both of those have been submitted, let's take a quick look at what exactly it did. First of all, you'll notice that the design gave us a property group. So the first thing to illustrate is the workflow created a property group for us, one for Linux and one for Windows. And really the only dramatic difference between the two, they both have the master workflow for BuildSuccess, and they both have Blueprint OS, and one is Linux and one is Windows. And that's how our vRO installer actually decides which OS it executes the commands against. Additionally, it automatically created the event subscription for you. On BuildSuccess, conditions are that it's looking for the BuildSuccess workflow. So after everything's complete, it builds. It then looks at the machine properties and looks for an agent download URL. This is only available on software component. So if I execute a request of a simple CentOS or Windows or really any other blueprint that I want that doesn't contain software components, this doesn't get executed. So again, this is really the flexibility and power with the event broker behind the scenes, that it goes through and executes those pieces and parts for you when you need them, but only when you need them. So while those are provisioning, we'll jump back and we'll illustrate the different pieces here. So first and foremost, the actual installation. You'll notice that these tie back to a configuration element. So that Linux username that you set, that Linux password that you set, the Windows username, the configuration properties. So when we set the password for the Darwin user, when we set the version ID, these all tie back to properties that are issued in the actual configuration element. So when we call to actually run the guest script against those particular pieces, it pulls from this configuration element. So really easy for you to consume. And this is something, if you package stuff up, you can take advantage of doing all of these things. And actually, I highly recommend, if you haven't yet, take a look at my my vRA installer package. You can actually wrap any number of different pieces and parts here, tie them back to configuration elements, and then use an installer package to go through and actually execute the pieces that you want. So you can even package and redeploy this or send this to Developer Center for other folks in the community to take advantage of and to build out their own open community of shared information. So we'll take a look at the configuration element. As you can see, the configuration element is in the same VMware SDE set, vRealize automation, agent installer, and then under it is the different pieces. So first is what resource element we want to use. So that would be the script that we're going to call for the guest manager. We'll highlight both of those. What properties do you want to use? So there's 3 elements and 3 properties. This will actually show us the properties, and all we're doing when we go through and execute this is set the URL, set the appliance, set the IaaS, so that those entry points that you created will write these in here and then execute those against the guest script manager. Same for the Windows piece, the vRA, the password, the version, all set for you so that you can take advantage of it. So the vRA agent install Linux and the vRA agent install Windows are 2 guest scripts. So if you go into administrator or go into the resource configurations, you can go in and actually look at the script that's run for Linux. You'll notice that we do a curl URL, which we replace the URL with the fully qualified URL. We replace the appliance and the IaaS as the command, and it automatically runs that script by pulling the vRA prepare vRA template.shell script. Windows, this is identical to the script that you have seen online and available. This runs through and replaces your appliance, your IaaS, your password, and your version so that it downloads the proper bits for the Windows install. It checks for .NET 3.5, so in my environment I have a pristine template that doesn't have anything on it. It's ready and available and will execute with the .NET 3.5 and go through all of the different pieces. It also writes all of the information out to a log file so that if the guest stumbles or fails or falls or something, you can actually check that out. So very simple kind of use case that you can take advantage of. Now you'll notice that I stalled long enough and explained long enough that we're executing our first vRA agent install package. You can see it runs through the agent install. We processed the actual script. So if you look at the script, it pulls in all of the properties that are needed for that particular event. It checks and finds the virtual machine by name and by UUID. It replaces the variables in the script. And then you'll notice that the cd opt curl-o insecure, it replaced the URL for me properly. It changed the actual prepare vRA template, and then it actually ran all of the different pieces the way it needed to. So it automatically executed the prepare script on the Windows, and it's ready for capture as a template. The beauty of this is that you can use a pristine template, and it doesn't need any here, prepare it and capture. Now obviously you can run this script against it if you would like to, and recapture as a template, that's entirely up to you. But the idea is that I want to provide a way to build a pristine template for you to deploy out and then make the decisions based on whether it needs software components or not to give the agent on those instances. So while we're waiting for Windows and the Linux system is coming online, we can go to our request. We'll look at our execution information. It'll take a couple minutes after the reboot to actually trigger back in and show that it has processed the machine actually building success and has completed that entire workflow. We'll give it just a second till the vSphere machine is complete, and then we'll see the Apple deployment. As you can see, the successfully created VM13. Now our Apple software package is actually running and completed successfully. We can look at it. It yum install wget, ran the Apple install, and we're golden. Windows takes a touch longer, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and give it a second here. We'll speed the video up just to make your lives easier, but we'll show you how the Windows install executes the same way, and we'll close out the session. Alright, as you can see, we're running the agent installer against Windows. Same process. It has pulled the script information and is running the script. Again, this takes a little longer because it's a pristine template. So it does the .NET installer and everything else along with it. Finds the VM name, looks for and replaces the values. Sets all of those in the script, and it's ready to go. Now we wait for that to complete, and we'll jump back into the web interface and watch the execution information as that completes. Again, this will take a couple minutes simply because it's Windows and takes a little longer to do the reboot and the build out. As you can see, we've completed the agent install run for the Windows environment. Gives us all of the details back about the log file. Now we can go into our execution information on the Windows deployment. Obviously, this is just like Linux. It's going to take a couple minutes to go through its reboot, customization, specs, all that fun stuff, and then we'll come back and see this complete and get information regarding the IIS install. So the machine is successfully completed. Now we're just waiting for the IIS install to complete. And as you can see, we've completed the success of the IIS install. No logs because it completed successfully. Thank you, Windows. And now our items are available to us for our day 2 operations. We have our software components on. We did it all seamlessly at provision time. Basically, the win here is that you can take advantage of pristine templates, deploy them out, check a simple box in the design tab for properties after doing install, and you have everything ready to go. So in a matter of minutes, you go from trying to figure out how to make the agents work on each of your different Windows or Linux machines to deploying software components. So my hope is that that you can take this and run with it and perhaps even enhance it in your environment and really take advantage of these pieces. So thanks very much for paying attention. Thanks as always for following me. extendingclouds.com, at Coburn Gary on Twitter. Obviously, grab me on LinkedIn. And hey, if you're coming to VMworld, man, come check me out. I'm having a group discussion It is available today to pre-register. You can join in with other customers who've jumped in and gotten knee deep in everything that is Event Broker and vRA 7 and beyond. So I look forward to seeing you. Stop me if you've seen or heard anything and gotten value out of it. Thanks very much, and I'll talk to you soon.